Hello and welcome to the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, which is part of the Fans for Sports Network. I'm Steve Gill, your host. Victory Monday. After a very bad West Coast trip, thank goodness they're not playing on the West Coast anymore. Browns came in, had a kind of like a playoff game against the Jaguars, because technically it was. The Jags are probably going to win the AFC South and to be a division winner, but had to have this game. AFC game. Conference record comes into play in tiebreakers. So, good game, excellent game. Joe Flacco is now the starter for the rest of the year, which I totally agree with. I think Kevin Stefanski made that announcement to quell the front office types who want to see DTR. So that's good. Very decisive. Yes, I had a little concerns about Flacco. Last year, he started out hot and then, went down, especially after he beat us the second week of the season with the Jets. But he has now thrown for something like 565 yards in 2 games. Yesterday, he threw for 311, 3 touchdowns, and a 92.0 QBR. Very impressive. He gets rid of the ball quickly. He has a great feel. His timing is starting to get much, much better. I could understand in the Rams game where his timing was off a little bit. Simply because he hadn't practiced with his team. Now his timing is getting better, and you can see that in the play calling by Kevin Stefanski. Njoku's 2 touchdowns, wide open. And I know the Jaguars' pass defense isn't the greatest in the world. It was ranked 30th going into the game, and they were down 2 corners, but still wide open. So he's making the right decisions. I'm not going to blame the interception on him. That was a penalty by the Jaguars. They ran into the Browns wide receiver, Cedric Tillman. That, I'm sorry, it was past 5 yards. Can't touch the wide receiver, and that should have been called. That pick should have never happened. It should have been pass interference and Browns ball. So, but then again, I'll get into officiating just after a little bit. The best part about it, in 10 plus yard throws, he had 14 of them. He was 7 of 14, 126 yards and a touchdown with a 105.1 quarterback rating in 10 plus yards. The previous game, he had 19 10 plus yards, so he's getting the ball out quickly. He's getting the ball down the field. And like I said, he's learning his players. That last touchdown by David Bell, that was something the 2 of them saw when they came up to the line of scrimmage. The Jaguars went with a 0 blitz, which means they bring everybody. And I don't care if the defensive back fell down or not. He wasn't going to get David Bell. Even if he was on his feet, he had ran past where David Bell was. So even if he turned around, he wouldn't have caught him. So that was beautiful. That was the play of the game. 4th and 3, David Bell wide open, runs into the touchdown. If you've seen the pictures on social media, he's smiling all the way down to the end zone. That's great. I'm not concerned about the running game, not with Flacco as the quarterback. His short passes are like long handoffs, and it forces the defense to not stack the box against the run. So that's good. I'll take it. I don't care how they get to 2nd and 3. If it's a run or a pass, I don't care. Just get to those easy, manageable downs. Kevin Stefanski went for it, I believe, 4 times on 4th down. I have no problem with any of them. None whatsoever. Fine. I think a lot of people still don't like Kevin Stefanski, and frankly, I just don't get it. I think he is evolved from a play caller. Now he's a head coach. He doesn't have to look over the shoulder of his special teams coach. He lets Bubba Ventrone do his thing, and the special teams have responded. He doesn't have to look over the defensive coordinator's shoulder. Jim Schwartz is totally in control of the defense. So that leaves Kevin Stefanski to be a play caller and a better head coach than he has been. To get this team to 8-5 with all the injuries they've had, frankly, is amazing. In past years, if you lost Nick Chubb and you lost your starting quarterback, both your starting right tackles, this team would have folded. And I'm not even talking about the defensive side of the field. I mean, let's face facts. I mean, they are down to, they lost two defensive tackles yesterday. Grant Delpit, who's having a hell of a game, also got a nice little contract extension. He went out, so they had to bring in DeAnthony Bell and Ronnie Hickman. Now I've always been a DeAnthony Bell fan, and I was a fan of Ronnie Hickman when he was with the Ohio State University. But they really stepped up and played well. Turnovers, they won the turnover battle. Like I said, the interception wasn't on Flacco. That should have been called a penalty. The strip sack, again, you're down to your third and fourth tackles. So Jedrick Wills just needs to come back, and DeJuan Jones next week. A lot of people like Jaron Christian, but he played a terrible game yesterday, and he can't pull. I don't know why. You see a lot of plays, and you'll see Teller and Batonio pulling more because Christensen he can't pull. He's, like I said, that was his worst game. So then you lose your starting center. Luckily, they have Nick Harris, and they also have Luke Whippler. So he's got a stinger, which we'll find out probably the coach. Let's see now. He is going to talk in about today, and he'll probably say we'll find their day-to-day, and we'll find out Wednesday. Jerome Ford hurt his hand, and that did not look good. Jordan Elliott got hurt. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we'll find out the injuries later, probably not till Wednesday. I was really impressed with the way the secondary played without Denzel Ward. He's very key, but getting Cameron Mitchell back, big difference. He had a big game, and I have a feeling when I see the Pro Football Focus grades that certain Mr. Emerson is going to be the top defender. He had a phenomenal game. That pass breakup was perfect timing, 2 picks. The first one, over the shoulder catch like he's a wide receiver. Greg Newsome, another nice interception. That's 2 for him. So hopefully they'll be able to get some safety help back. Hopefully Grant Delpit isn't hurt that bad. Hopefully they'll get Juan Thornhill. He re-aggravated that calf injury during warm-ups. So I'm still amazed how well the defensive secondary held up. And sure, the Jags, they scored a lot of points. They got, that one sequence where they get the interception, defense stops them, pins the Browns deep. I think they were in their 5-yard line. Flacco gets the ball out to Amari Cooper. He gets the first down, and then he fumbles it. I mean, we got to eliminate these turnovers. But I was glad to see they won the turnover battle. Let's get to the officiating. It stinks. It stinks league-wide. They are not showing favoritism towards any team whatsoever. You ask the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they overreact a little bit, but come on. The officiating. And Myles Garrett is being held on every play. Now they're not looking for, hands to the face. Come on. Now, Myles will probably be fine for what he said after the game, but great. He'll write him a check. It needed to be said. The officiating league-wise just stinks. I mean, it has hurt the Browns in the past. It helped them on a couple games, especially that Indianapolis game, but still. League-wide, it stinks. All right, so I also noticed I got a couple more complaints to do. Fans didn't really show up. I was hearing that at 9:30 Eastern time, the Muni lot was only half full. Now I know they lost 2 games in a row, but they're coming home against an opponent that is beatable. I know I don't live in Cleveland, and I can understand those people who say, I can't go every Sunday and stuff like that. But still, team's 8-5. I mean, they're now in the number 5 playoff spot. They're the number 1 wild card, thanks to the Steelers losing. And again, I'm going to say it again, Mike Tomlin's going to have his first losing season as a Steeler head coach. I've said this all year, and I'm sticking to it. So now they come in and they get a home game against the Bears, who have started to play well. Beat Detroit. Wow. Didn't see that coming. But, if this game was in Chicago, I'd be a little worried. But since it's in Cleveland, I'm going to say this is another winnable game. It is important. As for the other teams, Cincinnati, Jake Browning. What the heck is going on? Obviously, the system works in Cincinnati. Can you call Joe Burrow a system quarterback? Not really, but the system is working. They keep winning. That was a good game for them to win. I know the Browns carry the tiebreaker against the Colts, but it gets a little more complicated when there's a 3 and a 4-way tie, and that really head-to-head matchup really doesn't matter. They're more looking at conference records, so we'll see if Cincinnati can keep this up. Baltimore, what the heck? I mean, a punt return? Give me a break. But Baltimore has to go to Jacksonville next week, and then they got to go all the way to San Francisco, and then they host Miami. So those 3 games will determine. And then, of course, Cleveland's got the Bears. They got to go to Houston, which is a tough game, but Houston lost to the Jets. And then who do they play? They're home against the Jets. So the schedule kind of favors Cleveland over Baltimore. Baltimore's still got a tougher road. Let's hope that Cincinnati is out of it by the time the Browns play them, and let's hope Baltimore gets a few losses here coming up. They've got tough games. If they go 3-0 in that stretch, then they deserve to win the division. I'm still not counting the Browns out for division. It's still possible, but they've got to win their remaining AFC games. They have to. And they have to beat the Bears. So that's it for today. I want to thank everybody for watching, listening, downloading. We appreciate it here at the Fanatical Elves Network. Like we always say, we're just fans like you. We love the Browns just like you. Some of us can be a little abrasive at times, but we're just trying to be honest with you. Let's hope the stadium is full next week. Let's hope the Browns are excited, and let's just on to beating the Bears. So everybody out there, enjoy your Victory Monday and go Browns.